Varam chamat kanchana manavindra. Does everyone chant?
Varam chamat kanchana manavendra.
Vinisvate ham guna shila yantrita.
Vrinitshva teham gunasila yantrita.
Naham makai vai sulabastapobir.
Naham makhairvair sulavastapobhi.
Yogena vayat samachitta bharti.
Yoge navayat samachetavarti.
Varam chamat kanchana manavindra.
Varam chamat kanchana manavendra.
Svakeham guna shila yantrita.
Vrinishvateham gunasila yantrita.
Naham makai vai sulabastapobir.
Naham makhairvair sulabhastapobhi.
Yogena vayat samachitta bharti.
Yoge navayat samachetavarti.
Param chamat kanchana manavindra.
Varam chamat kanchana manavendra.
Pranisvateham guna shila yantrita.
Vrineshvateham gunashila yantrita.
Aham makai vai sulabastapobir.
Naham makhairvair sulabhastapobhi.
Yogena vayat samachitta bharti.
Yoge navayat samachetavarti.
One likes to chant.
Varam chamat kanchana manavendra.
Varam chamat kanchana manavindra.
Vrinishvateham gunashila yantrita.
Pranisvateham guna shila yantrita.
Naham makhairvair sulabhastapobhi.
Naham
Sulabhastapobir.
Yoge navayat samachetavarti.
Yogi Vayat Machetavarti.
else? Word for word. Varam.
Varam.
Benediction.
Benediction.
Sa.
Cha.
Also.
Also.
Mat.
Mat.
From me.
From me.
Kanchana.
Kanchana.
Whatever you like.
Whatever you like.
Manava Indra.
Manava Indra.
O chief of human beings.
O chief of human beings.
Vishnisva.
Vishnishva.
Please request.
Please request.
Te.
Te.
Your.
Your.
Aham.
Aham.
I.
I.
Gunashila.
Gunashila.
By elevated qualities and excellent behavior.
By elevated qualities and excellent behavior.
Yantrita.
Yantrita.
Being captivated.
Being captivated.
Na.
Na.
Not.
Not.
Hare Krishna.
Aham.
Aham.
I.
I.
Makai.
Why? Makai.
By sacrifices.
By sacrifices.
By.
Why?
Certainly.
Certainly.
Sudulaba.
Sudurlava.
Easily obtained.
Easily obtained.
Tapobi.
Tapobhi.
By austerities.
By austerities.
Yogena.
Yogena.
By practice of mystic yoga.
By practice of mystic yoga.
Va.
Va.
Or.
Or.
Yat.
Yat,
because of which
because of which,
Samachita,
Samachitta,
one who is equiposed,
in one who is equipoised,
Varti,
Varti,
being situated.
being situated.
Translation. My dear King, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined toward you. You may therefore ask from me any benediction you like. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifice, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equiposed in the heart of one who is also equiposed in all circumstances. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Vishnu was very pleased with Maharaj Prithu's good character and behavior and offered him a benediction. The Lord openly says that performing great sacrifices or undergoing the austerities of mystic yoga practice cannot satisfy him. He is pleased only by elevated character and behavior. But these cannot develop unless one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Anyone who has developed unalloyed, unflinching devotional service unto the Lord develops his original good qualities as spirit soul. The spirit soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has all the good qualities of the Lord. When the spirit soul is contaminated by the material modes of nature, one is considered good or bad with reference to the material qualities. But when one is transcendental to all material qualities, all the good qualities come out. These qualities of a devotee, 26 in number, are listed as follows. I'm not going to read the numbers. I'll just say, well, one is kind to everyone. I guess I will read the numbers. 2, does not quarrel with anyone. 3, fixed in the absolute truth. 4, equal to everyone. 5, faultless. 6, charitable. 7, mild. 8, clean. Simple, benevolent, peaceful, completely attached to Krishna, has no material hankering, meek, steady, self-controlled, does not eat more than required, sane, respectful, humble, grave, compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert, and 26 is silent. The Lord is satisfied by development of the transcendental qualities of the living entity and not by artificial performance of sacrifices and mystic yoga. In other words, unless one is fully qualified to become a pure devotee of the Lord, one cannot expect to be liberated from material entanglement. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pustaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nivasi Sunibadi Paschachade Satarani. So, in the beginning of this chapter, Maitreya is speaking to Vidura, and Maitreya is explaining that Prithu Maharaj performed 99 horse sacrifices, and Lord Indra stopped him from performing 100. So Lord Vishnu appeared where Prithu Maharaj was with Indra, and he began to speak. That was pretty much in the very beginning of this chapter. And then Indra, the king of heaven, this is what the Lord is saying, Indra, the king of heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. So I just found this very beginning was so nice. It's just like a father, you know, your son does something wrong. He well, I don't know what they do nowadays. We might have broken somebody's window, and our father would come with us to them and make us apologize, or whatever we may have done wrong. We have to apologize, sincerely apologize. So Indra, he's doesn't want to just do this, but he doesn't have a choice when Vishnu is telling him that he has to do this. So that was like the first two verses, which I find very interesting just because of the whole fatherly thing. We have this nature. We know what's right, you know, deep down, let our conscience be our guide. We know how to train our children, or at least to some degree. When they do something wrong to someone, they have to apologize. So here, you have to be forgiven by this person. So he brings them to Prithu Maharaj. And then the Lord is speaking a lot about the how you're not the body, not that Prithu Maharaj is not affected by the modes of nature. And he glorifies King Prithu in front of Indra. And in this verse, offers him anything he desires. So in this verse, my dear king, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities. So this is how we can captivate the Lord. In this particular verse, gives us exactly how we can do it, by developing elevated qualities. Now, these qualities are not the qualities of some particular materialist or some karmi. There's another verse. Yes, yasti bhaktir bhagavatir kinchana savai gunais tattva samasate sura harav abba tasya kuto mahad guna manoratena sati davato bahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. So here's how, even in the purport, Prabhupada says you have to be a pure devotee to get these qualities. Here's another verse. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. And that's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12. So these qualities that Prithu Maharaj has are from being a pure devotee. He's actually an empowered incarnation of Krishna or Vishnu. So he's fully surrendered. But one who has these qualities, these are the real qualities that you have. So the other people, now we see materialists, we see karmis, and we see that they seem to be really nice and charitable or this and that. But it says hovering on the mental plane. They can change at any moment. The qualities aren't true, deep, real. They're on the mental platform, so they can change at any moment. They may be behaving very nicely now, but it's not guaranteed they're going to be behaving nicely later. I can think of an example. I don't think maybe you don't know about Lewis and Clark. They traveled across the country. So there was other people who followed Lewis and Clark afterwards. And there was one group who were pretty much all Christians. And they were really good people. But then everything got so bad, they turned, not to be so good anymore. They wanted to kill the Indian guards because they, not guards, Indians who were helping them find their way so that they can eat them because they didn't have any food. I mean, they became really like animals, even though they were all Christians. So the qualities you have, when you're really tested, then that's when you see if those qualities are real, genuine. And only the devotee has those qualities. So we may not be able to tell, but Krishna can certainly tell. So I am very favorably inclined toward you because of these elevated qualities that you have. You may therefore ask for me any benediction you like. So he's so pleased with Prithu Maharaj because of the qualities he has, and he has those qualities because he's fully surrendered to Krishna, and therefore the Lord himself comes and wants to give him whatever he wants, gives him any benediction he'd like. And Indra is right there. And Indra, you can imagine how he's feeling. He's the one that stopped 100 sacrifices, 100 horse sacrifices, and he has to apologize to Prithu Maharaj. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifices, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equal posed in the heart of one who is also equal posed in all circumstances. So these qualities Krishna is very pleased with, and he's not so much into that you can perform sacrifices, the great sacrifices, great austerities. Although you do perform austerities, one of the qualities of the devotee is he doesn't eat more than necessary. I mean, Prabhupada says we should eat as much to keep the body and soul together. Let's see. So the way to please Krishna is by bhakti, by devotional service. And he says in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Naham Vedaina tapasana dani nana cheshaya shakyevam vido drastum dristavanasi mamyata. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas. So we think studying the Vedas is very good. It can be very good, and it is very good. But if the purpose depends what your purpose is, why you're studying the Vedas. We study the Vedas so we can understand more about Krishna, so we can tell other people more about Krishna, get people to surrender to Krishna, not to just show off that we know so many verses. So you see this form by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It's not by these means that one could see me as I am. And in the next verse, Bhaktya Tvananya Shakya, Aham Evam Vido Juna, Gyatum Drastum Cha Tatvena Pravestum Cha Parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you, can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So this is the way we can develop these qualities. This is the way we can become pure. This is the way we can please Krishna, not by just doing any austerity, studying the Vedas, charity, even worship. You can do all these things for different reasons. That means people show off. Somebody can be a good kirtan leader and just want to lead to show how good they are, instead of leading to try to please Krishna. So it's not so much even what we're doing, it's why we're doing it. If we're doing it to please Krishna, then even if it's a simple little thing, if we're doing it to please Krishna, Krishna becomes pleased. Even if we do it wrong, he's pleased. If our intentions are to please him. It's like when a devotee peeled a banana to offer it to Krishna and offered Krishna the peels, but he offered it with love. Krishna took the peels and ate it. So Krishna's pleased with more our love and devotion, and we're doing this to please him, than just with than just with the great pronunciation of the Sanskrit verses, or just with the beautiful kirtans or wonderful classes. I mean, it has to be generally you, not always, but you may be empowered by Krishna to do these things nicely for him because you're doing it for him. But there may be somebody who doesn't. I know an example of one lady once, many years ago. She really likes leading kirtan, and she didn't like this other lady. So, but anyway, I asked the other lady to lead kirtan, and I told this lady that this other person is going to lead during the arti, and I was doing the arti, so I told her before arti. I couldn't tell her after that. So I blow the conch shell, open the curtains, and then the lady I told not to lead the kirtan is leading the kirtan. So I assume she told the other lady told her, no, you lead. So I just assumed that. But after I found out, she just started leading and wouldn't let the other lady lead. Stuff like that. Why are you doing that? I don't think Krishna becomes pleased when you do something like that, even though you chant nicely. It's kind of like showing off. So there are some people who do that, things like that. Most of us are pretty sane, which is another quality of the devotee, is sane. Some people are not so sane, and that's not a quality of a devotee. There's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 8:28. Vedeshu yagyeshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya palam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param stanam upaiti chadyam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas. So if you take the devotional service, you get the same results that you if you study the Vedas properly, even if you're not even studying the Vedas. But you get the same results from studying the Vedas, from performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these. And at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So you don't have to make any separate endeavor. All you have to do is serve Krishna. And how do we serve Krishna? We do what Srila Prabhupada has taught us. And the present gurus are teaching what Srila Prabhupada has taught us. Hear and chant about Krishna, follow your authorities, engage in devotional service, use your senses to please Krishna's senses. Just so many practical things that we know how to do, and just apply them to our lives. Just do that and we get all the results. It says that someone who's engaged in devotional service already did all of these things, already studied the Vedas, already performed austerities, already gave in charity, already performed sacrifices. If you're engaging in devotional service, you already did all of these things. So we have to just engage in devotional service, and automatically these qualities that Prithu Maharaj exhibited that attracted the Lord will develop within us. And, these are the qualities we want to develop. Then there's the qualities of the demons: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of the maniac nature, O son of Pritha. That's 16:4 in the Bhagavad Gita. So we certainly don't want to develop those qualities. And some of us may have some of these qualities. Pride, some people are proud. We can be proud, but not proud of ourselves. We can be proud of our disciplic succession. We can be proud that we're disciples of whatever particular guru we have, but disciples of Srila Prabhupada. We're all followers of Prabhupada. He is everyone's Shiksha Guru. And we can be proud of that, but not proud of anything we do. And anything we do is only possible because Krishna is allowing us to do it. Arrogance, conceit, anger. I mean, even anger can be used in Krishna's service. So you can become angry for Krishna. I've heard Prabhupada say, that Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna simply to make him angry, because you can't fight unless you're angry. And anger, we can see, Hanuman, he used his anger in the service of Ram. So anger can be used in Krishna's service, but not because it's something disturbs us. Harshness, we can try to become gentle, And ignorance, we can get knowledge by hearing from authorities. So these are some of the demoniac qualities we don't want to have, or if we do have them, we're using them in Krishna's service. It's just like lazy. It's not good to be lazy, but it's good to be lazy for sense gratification. You want to enjoy your senses, it's too much trouble, forget about it. But not be lazy for Krishna. Yat karoshi yarasnasi yas johosi dadasi yat yatapasyasi kaunteya tat karusmara arpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So Krishna is saying you can perform austerities, but do it for me. Don't do it for some mystic powers or gaining some political post or something. You don't do it for anything like that. You perform austerities to please me. You eat first, you offer to Krishna. Whatever you offer or give away, do it to please him. Everything. So, I don't know how much time I have. I was thinking of Prithu Maharaj. Now he's a Kshatriya. So the qualities of a Kshatriya: heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, which is also one of the qualities of the devotee, pure devotee, generous, and leadership are the natural qualities that work for the Kshatriya. So he certainly had these, but he seemed to have also these qualities of a Brahmin to a great degree. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity. He was certainly pure. He was certainly self-controlled. He didn't get upset because of, he got angry because he couldn't do 100 horse sacrifices. He did what he could. The results are up to Krishna. Results aren't up to us. Purity, tolerance, he's tolerant, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So he seemed to have these qualities also. So he was a Rajasi. He was a saintly king, not just an ordinary king. So one thing we can see in our own lives is how much we are advancing by how much we're developing these qualities to different degrees. Now, even if we don't have these qualities, we may be a little closer to them now after being a devotee than we were before when we were karmis. Kind to everyone. We may not be kind to everyone, but we should be at least kind to most people. I mean, generally devotees are kind, but sometimes when someone doesn't behave properly, they may lose their temper, and that's not very good. But we should be kind to everyone. Doesn't quarrel with anyone. We shouldn't make, people make a mountain out of a molehill, as the expression goes. It's some little thing and you make a big thing out of it. So don't quarrel. It's not worth quarreling over. But sometimes our false ego, we start arguing about something. We have to give up this false ego. Fixed in the absolute truth, we have to be convinced of Krishna consciousness. Equal to everyone. So in other words, we treat everyone equally. We don't judge by their external demeanor how to deal with them. We treat everyone as a spirit soul. We're equal to everyone, but we may not treat everyone the same in a sense that, we have to see there's the devotees, there's the Supreme Lord, there's the devotees, there's the innocent, and then there's the the demons. So we don't really preach to the demons. We may preach to them only until we find out they're demons, and then we should stop preaching to them. So we treat them differently, but we are equal to them. We're not being mean to them. We're just not sharing what they don't want to hear with them. So we're equal to everyone. Faultless. Well, we all have faults, but a pure devotee doesn't. Charitable. We should be charitable. Give to the right, at the right cause, at the right time. Mainly give to Krishna or spreading Krishna consciousness. That's what our charity should be for. Mild, clean. Prabhupada says clean inside and outside. Simple. Simple doesn't mean foolish or stupid. Simple means that you're just not complicated. Benevolent. It's desiring. You want to help others. You're charitable. Peaceful. Everybody knows what peaceful is. Completely attached to Krishna. That would be wonderful, to be completely attached to Krishna. Has no material hankering. Well, that we can see. I have material hankering. I don't want to. Krishna, help me with this. I don't want to be wanting this thing. It's not going to make me happy. The more you become Krishna conscious, the more you realize that material things are not going to make you happy. Meek. It's interesting. Number 14 is meek, and then 20 is humble. Usually you say like meek and humble. They kind of go together, but they're two separate qualities here. Steady. We should be steady in serving Krishna. We shouldn't be, Prabhupada said, we shouldn't be like the shooting stars. It just goes. We should be like the moon and steady. Not like we do something real great and then it's over, finished. No, better you just do whatever you can, little by little, every day, and gradually increase. Self-controlled, does not eat more than required. In other places, Prabhupada says you should eat enough just to keep the body and soul together. Sane, which I went over earlier. Respectful. We should be respectful, humble, grave. Prabhupada says gravity is the best way to control the mind. And I'll tell you a little story about this sannyasi, Sudam, devotee, Prabhupada disciple. He passed away several years ago. But he read where Prabhupada says gravity is the best way to control the mind. And he was Prabhupada's servant at the time. So he decided he's going to be grave. And he was really grave, and he's doing all this service. And Srila Prabhupada said, Sudam, why are you so morose? So there's a difference between gravity and being morose. Compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Silent doesn't mean you don't speak. Silent means you don't speak anything but about Krishna. That's all you speak. That's silent. So, does anyone have any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
People.
I'm not sure if you explained or with an example, quality of meekness. Can you explain?
Well, I mean, we can look it up, but I kind of see meek as just being humble, meek and humble. It says that the meek shall inherit the earth in the Bible. So those people, why don't somebody get a dictionary definition for meek? But I kind of see it as not, almost like not being noticed, just meek, not trying to stand out. But did anyone look it up?
Very good. Means quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on, submissive.
Quiet, gentle, and what?
Easily imposed on, submissive.
Submissive. Submissive is a good word. We use that quite often.
Prabhuji, when you came to Krishna consciousness, what qualities of the Hare Krishna devotees attracted you out of these 26? Something that came out.
Oh, well, I was always attracted to the humble humility. I was always attracted to, but what I was attracted to was knowledge. So where does it say here? It says something about, well, knowing Krishna, of course. I mean, I certainly didn't look for any of these qualities in a devotee. They were nice. I can tell you, now I remember the very first time I went to the temple. This is on Henry Street in New York City, and I traveled already all over the world, you know, because I was in the Navy and I spent almost a year hitchhiking all around the country. And then when I went to the temple, when I left the temple, I remember thinking, I have never been treated so nice anywhere else in the whole world. No people have treated me so nice. So they were certainly kind. They were kind. They were just the nicest people. I really, that I remember about the devotees. They were just really nice. And that was in New York City, where you don't find so many really nice people. You know, they may be nice, but they don't show it, you know, but they may to their family, to people they know. But went into this place, and I remember those were my exact thoughts. I've never been treated so nicely anywhere else before in my life. So whatever qualities that was from the devotees. But the main thing about Krishna consciousness that I wasn't so much into the kirtan. I remember the first day I went, at that time, you know, we have Julana Yatra for like 1 week. But at that time in New York and in Boston, because I moved to Boston Temple, I think everywhere, every day, every Sunday, we sang Radha and Krishna. We didn't know we'd only do it one week out of the year. So there's everyone swinging Radha and Krishna, and I didn't want to swing Radha and Krishna because not because I had no idea what's even going on, but I remember I didn't want people looking at me, you know, because everybody's they're really not looking at the person swinging, but that's what I was thinking. So I didn't want to swing them because everybody's going to look at me. But one brahmacharini, very nice, he said, oh, you know, come on, you know, and she got me to swing them, even though I didn't want to do it, but I did it. And then I went and walked away, and I was really glad that was over with. I didn't like the food, was just not very tasty to me. Everything, I remember thinking exactly, a green mush, they were all mush. Everything was just a mush, nothing solid. A green mush, a brown mush, a red mush, and that's what we ate, you know, different things. And I didn't care for any of it. So it wasn't the food. I did like the plays. They did plays every week. And that's what got me to go to the temple early, because I'd go to the temple early, I'd find out what play they're doing. And then I'd read about it in Krishna book before the play, so I'd understand it more. So it was real nice. But the plays I liked, and I liked the devotees, and I really liked the philosophy. It just was perfect. I was so happy. Everything made perfect sense. And then gradually I got to, enjoy the kirtan, and the food. Gradually they started cooking differently eventually, and I really liked the food. But that was my beginning. So I really liked that they were really nice, treated so nicely. I mean, Vedic culture, most Indian people are like that. They really develop this culture. That's what culture is. Guests, you treat them nicely. And it says that even if an enemy comes, you treat him so nicely that he forgets he's an enemy. So that's Vedic culture. So, I mean, I certainly notice that when I go to many Indian people's houses. Indian devotees, of course, but even if they're not much devotees, they're still very hospitable. But that was the thing that attracted me to most of the devotees. I felt so good when I left. And then after a while, when I started going every day, after about 3 weeks, then I go on Harinam with them every day. I'd be there the whole day working on the press, printing books, because they had a press in New York at the time. And then at night we go on Harinam, and they'd go back to the temple, and I'd take the subway and go back home, and I'd feel so, what I considered so high. It was like, I feel like felt transcendental, but I didn't realize the word transcendental at the time. But I felt so spiritual, so wonderful. Every single night I left. It was a wonderful experience. It was very simple. The devotees were simple. They were not complicated. That was also attractive. I didn't think of it at the time, but they were. It was real nice.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, when you get a guest, when a new person comes, definitely treat them really special.
If anybody has a question, please unmute yourself. But before that, I'd just like to make an announcement that one of Srila Prabhupada's very dear disciple and sannyasi is in a very critical condition, just got COVID and is in ICU. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. So please keep him, Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, please keep him in your prayers, everybody, today, tomorrow, and throughout. Because prayers at this point is more important. The doctors are doing what they have to do, but our prayers will definitely help him recover. So I just wanted to announce that.
Is he in India?
No, he's here, Maharaj, in Florida, I believe, in the US.
I didn't hear.
Yeah. Anybody has a question, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, I have a question. In
Yes.
the purport, it mentions that these 26 qualities are Krishna's qualities, and then when one becomes a devotee, these qualities will automatically, manifest into that person. So, do we need to teach or train somebody to be kind or to be truthful, or one of these things, or does this automatically happen when one practices, daily sadhana?
Now that's a good question. I see it as for devotees, we should learn what these qualities are. We should try to develop them, but not artificially. But even if we don't, if we actually just completely surrender to Krishna, we'll develop all these qualities automatically. But I don't think it should be, well, I'll just wait for it to happen. I think you should try to be conscious of it. I'm supposed to be kind to everyone. I see I'm not kind to somebody, I should see that this is not good. Krishna, help me to be kind to everyone. So I think it should make an effort, but not make that effort separate from bhakti, separate from your devotional service. We shouldn't just try to develop these qualities. We should engage in our service. We should engage in whatever we're doing, hearing and chanting, remembering about Krishna. But at the same time, we should know the qualities we're supposed to be developing, and we can make a little effort to do it. Just not quarrel with anyone. If you see you quarreling, I shouldn't be quarreling. Let me just stop. I'm sorry. And not like, well, I'm sorry, you're right, not like that. Well, which means that actually I'm right. I'm just saying that. No, we don't argue with anyone. I mean, Srila Prabhupada would sometimes might seem like arguing, but that was because he's trying to help that person or help the people who are hearing besides that person. So for Krishna, sometimes you can argue, but generally we don't argue with people. Most of our arguing is with false ego. So we should see, if I'm doing this, I don't want to do this. This is not the quality I'm supposed to be developing. we pray to Krishna immediately. Krishna, help me to stop arguing. Help me to realize how foolish this is. It's not what I'm trying to develop. So it's good to know, just like we have the 10 offenses. By chanting, we'll gradually get free from the offenses. But if we're chanting and we know what the offenses are and we see we're doing it, then we can make a conscious effort to stop doing it. So it's all helpful, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Just like if you're an illiterate, like Lord Chaitanya met this illiterate who was trying to read Bhagavad Gita, but he couldn't read and he's crying. And Lord Chaitanya asked him, why are you crying? He said, because his Guru Maharaj asked him to read Bhagavad Gita every day and he doesn't know how to read. So Lord Chaitanya said, so why are you crying? He said, because when I think of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, absolute truth, taking the position of a chariot driver for his devotee, that brings tears to my eyes. And Lord Chaitanya said that you are the real knower of Bhagavad Gita. So it's not like he had to do something special. He could just, in his heart, he can know Bhagavad Gita. So we can develop these qualities just by trying to follow the instructions of our Guru. And we can also learn what they are and also see that we're not going too far off the line here. Self-control. We don't lose control. Even that simple does not eat more than required. Pretty much all of us eat more than required. If we only need enough to keep body and soul together, that ain't much. So we shouldn't overdo it. Try to control it. So it's good to know what they are and to see if we're deviating too much from these and try to bring ourselves back. Just like when we chant Hare Krishna, we're supposed to be hearing the mantra, yet we're thinking of something else. When we realize it, we got to bring it back to Krishna again. Hare Krishna, and just start hearing again. So to have some knowledge of these qualities is helpful to develop the qualities, but it's not absolutely necessary. But it definitely, for us, we should try to use everything we can to become a pure devotee. So knowledge of these and trying to develop them is a good way to try to be in becoming a pure devotee. But not artificially, like kind to everyone. Externally, I'm kind to everyone, but I'm thinking, this person is a jerk, and this person, that's not really kind. So it's not just external, it's actually feeling this way. So that's what we have to develop. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
There's one question. Arjuna had all these qualities. Why did he still fight against the Kauravas?
Why did he still fight against what?
The Kauravas.
Why did he fight? Because he's a Kshatriya. I mean, he fought because that's what his duty was. And of course, even beyond that, he fought because Krishna is telling him, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, that's the real reason. If he's a Kshatriya and Krishna says, don't fight, then he doesn't fight. But when I first read Bhagavad Gita, I was certainly on Arjuna's side, and I was against what Krishna was saying. I was thinking Arjuna's really a great person for feeling this way. But of course, later I realized that God knows best. So the reason he's fought is because, number one, as a Kshatriya, he's supposed to. That's his duty. He had to do his duty. And number two, Krishna's pointing out to him that this is your duty and you should do your duty. And if you don't, then they're going to think you left because you're a coward. And for one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. Although he had those qualities, which Krishna really appreciated too, that he was so compassionate and kind and was willing to give up the whole kingdom. But you still have to do what your duty is. And the whole war, the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjun being an illusion, because normally Arjun wouldn't be an illusion. He was put in illusion by Krishna, so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken. So he's would normally have no hesitation in fighting. So Krishna put that illusion on him so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken, so we can have it, and we can learn from it now how to behave.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Prabhu, you have quoted the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, this Yashasya Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinchana. Over there, generally, even we try to do any kind of service or any kind of thing, generally our mind generally definitely come. So how can we, like, our mind, like, we generally tend to do based on our speculation, whatever, like, the mind is saying. So how can we differentiate? Is it a mental speculation that we are trying to say, like, this is the right, or it is a bhakti, or, like, it is higher than the mental speculation? How can we differentiate? Because sometimes many devotees think that what I'm doing is correct, like, the way I'm doing action, because I'm thinking I'm doing for God, trying to serve, please my guru, whatever, like, in their way. But how can we say that actually that action we are performing is a mental speculation rather than a service?
Well, I mean, you can be doing it. I don't know what it is somebody's doing, but if the instruction, if it's what your guru wants you to do and you're doing it, you should be thinking, I'm doing this for my guru. And the results are offered to your guru, or offered to Krishna. So one thing is, you can judge by the results. What are the results being offered? I'm doing this for Krishna, but I keep all the results for myself. That's not doing it for Krishna. So I am not sure how to answer the question.
No, sorry, sorry, but, like, generally, like, guru is not there to instruct every time.
Right.
But generally we perform actions, we do some kind of service or whatever it is, like, in our way of our own speculation. Like, I want to do this, I'll just try to do things. Like, I've seen devotees many doing a lot of activities, I don't know, because of their mental speculation, thinking like this is the right way to approach and I'm actually pleasing. It doesn't matter, like, how can we look into it? One point I got to answer that, like, you can see the fruits, the results of actions, right? By looking, definitely we can judge according to that. But how can we filter? Like, it's not a mental speculation. What I'm doing is not a mental speculation. It's
got to be what your guru wants, what the past saints have said, and also what the scriptures say. If you're following all three of those things, then it's not speculation. Like Prabhupada wants us to distribute books. If we distribute books, we can think of different ways of distributing books, and that's fine. And you can even speculate, you might say, on how can I distribute books? Especially now during this coronavirus, how are we going to distribute books? So you could try to figure that out. That's not mental speculation. I mean, I don't. Okay, mental speculation. Prabhupada says there's philosophical speculation to try to understand things. Mental speculation, really, I don't know if it's so much about what I'm doing, if I'm doing this is right. I would consult with other devotees. If everyone is thinking that, It doesn't mean it's true, but if everyone is thinking that this is a waste of time, what you're doing, and you're the only one who thinks it isn't, you still could be right, because I've seen that with, a long, long time ago. Indra was in New York. Indra, if those, maybe you know him, he's lived in Vrindavan, chanted, started 24-hour kirtans.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Indra was in New York and he was building this like a traveling temple. And it kind of folded and unfolded, opened up, and it's put onto a truck. And they'd go out in New York City and they'd have kirtans. They'd have to put all this stuff. And every single person was telling them, this is crazy. And I remember telling them myself that, you know, it's going to take you so long to set everything up. You're not going to have time to chant, because it was very involved. But anyway, everybody told him, and I mean everybody, gurus, GBCs, sannyasis, and he just kept working on it. And then when he did it, it took about a half hour to set everything up, and it was really nice. It was a great success. I have no idea what happened to it now. But I'm saying, so sometimes, you know, Krishna might be telling you something in your heart, nobody else is thinking that. You know, Srila Prabhupada came here. It's not like his god brothers thought this was a good idea. Nobody gave him any support, but he did it. So sometimes you can be right, but you know, because that's what Krishna wants. But most of the time, I think if you consult, you should have certain devotees who you consider very Brahminical, and you can consult with them whether this is a good idea or not, or how it can be changed, whatever the idea might be. It says when 3 Brahmins agree on something, usually that's a very good sign. So
Thank you, Prabhu.
Without having a specific thing, it's like really hard to say. But you should, you know, just, I mean, because we can be motivated, thinking we're motivated to please Krishna, but there's some other motivation that we may not even be conscious of. So it's good to always have the authorities, if you have some authorities, and get the sanction from the authorities. Even if the temple president, say, doesn't agree, you know, the GBC, talk to them and see what they think. You know, to see if this particular thing you want to try is something good to do for spreading Krishna consciousness.
Okay, bro. Thank you. Yes, bro. I think I take over 2 points on that. Thank you, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Anyone else? One last question.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You know, I feel regrettable that I did not take the opportunity. I was in 1971 in Brooklyn. I was working in Navy Yard and I was an engineer, and I was going to Brooklyn Polytechnic, all around the temple. And I feel regrettable that I did not make use like what you have done, you know. So how do I make up? That is my issue. And now I wake up and I feel every day that what I did, I could have done better at that time. I was single and I was busy making my living. And I was just came from India in 1970. So can you help me feel better?
Well, in retrospect, there's so
Yes.
many things every one of us can think of how we could have done differently. I think about how I was in high school. I could have been going to the temple on 26 Second Avenue, you know, and okay, like when did I graduate? I was going in 60, I think I graduated in 65. I think I graduated, or 66, I graduated high school. I was there in New York. I mean, I had no interest at the time in anything spiritual. I wasn't even thinking that way at all. But in retrospect, I think, why couldn't I have done that? It would have been so wonderful. So in retrospect, there's so many things. And Prabhupada has said, better late than never. You know, he was instructed in what was it, 1930 something? 1922 was the first time he was instructed to preach to the English-speaking people. You know, so he said, better late than never. You know, he was instructed to do it, and he finally did do it. So there's no reason to lament. It's what's done is done. But from this point on, now take full advantage and try to fully surrender. Boy, that's really nice. I can relate to that. I really wish I would have met you then. I can't hear you if you're talking. I don't know. He's muted.
Was only 1 week old, and you know, at that time, all the devotees were there in Brooklyn temple, and they took my daughter and danced for half an hour. She was only 1 week old, so I enjoyed.
Oh my goodness.
So you were going to the temple then?
Yes, I went to the temple, but I had the family, and I'm just, you know, working real hard, having worked in India, good positions. So it took a long time. And, you know, now I feel that I could have been more devoted, more time spent to that work rather than not concentrating totally on the Krishna's duties.
What,
But
did you know
say
Gopal, did you know Gopal Krishna at the time? Who's now Maharaj?
no, I had some of my friends staying in temple because they didn't have a job, and they got the temple temple food and temple rooms. Whereas I could afford my own home, so I didn't have to take charge of that way, you know. But I am dedicated now, and I hope I will be able to enjoy the benefits of being a devotee.
Yeah, I think that's actually wanting to do things differently then, I think is purifying to think that way, how you could have done this. But Gopal Krishna, he's Indian, he was a householder, and he was initiated, and he would come, I would see him at the temple all the time. And, you know, so there were householders who, only the Indian people lived at home. I don't know any Westerners. Every Westerner moved into the temple because you couldn't live at home. You knew nothing about Krishna. The Indian people had culture.
Yes, some of them are from Bengal, so they enjoyed the staying in the temple.
And that was in 70 or 71?
Yeah, that was in 71.
Yeah, that's when I started going. I don't know. It was really funny then. I can tell you a quick story. I just bought at that time a new hooded sweatshirt, and it was an orange hooded sweatshirt. And they were like very new at that time, hooded sweatshirts. Now everybody has hoodies. And I hung it up, you know, and I took prasadam. Now we're going out on Sankirtan. I go back and my sweatshirt's gone. And I said, my sweatshirt's gone. And I was really distressed. And one brahmacharini, she looks at me and very, very compassionately says, "Oh, were you attached?" Was I attached? I said, "Yes, I was attached." And then I found another devotee wearing my sweatshirt. So I got it back. I got my attachment back. But it was funny how devotees thought at that time. You shouldn't be attached to anything. And when I moved in, nobody had their own dhoti, nobody had their own kurta, no one had their own socks. Although I had one pair of socks and I washed them every night so I can have the same pair. That's why people wore two different colored socks, because you just threw all the socks in a bin, you took two socks out. You know, they get washed every day. You take a dhoti out every day. You take your kurta, and that's it. You didn't have your own clothes. It was austere, but it didn't seem austere. Now it really freak out if I had to try to do that. But at that time, it was like what everybody did. So, was I attached to my sweatshirt? Yes, I was. And that was like, she felt sorry for me because I was attached. Not because my sweatshirt was stolen, but because I was attached. Anyway, thank you all very much.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the devotee was just speaking to you, Prabhakar Prabhu. He's one of the first devotees who we met at one of the stores when we started the center. We were distributing flyers, bringing awareness that we're starting a center. So he was one of the first who started coming, and now he's chanting 16 rounds. And very, very dedicated, never misses a program. And yeah.
Anyway, you have the right attitude. You definitely have the right attitude. And as Prabhupada said, better late than never. Hare
All right,
Krishna.
let us all thank Prabhuji with the loud Haribol, and we hope and pray that you can visit us someday after the lockdown is over.
Yeah.
We'll be very much happy to have.
Haribo.
Haribol,
Haribol.
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 Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Grace Pyari Mohan Prabhuji ki,
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Haribol.
Please convey our danvats to Mataji also.
Yes. She's right here.
Oh, Haribol. Maybe we can hear from Mataji a little bit.
Haribol.
Hari, hari, hari.
Mataji, maybe we
Hare
can
Krishna.
hear if it's not too late, how you came to Krishna consciousness.
Oh, causeless mercy. I was, I guess I was in high school, and I was interested in yoga and meditation, and some people moved to the neighborhood. We called one Crazy Bob and John the Wizard. They moved right on the lake, Lake Geneva. And I went to their house to learn more about meditation, and they were ringing bells and had candles, and we did everything you could think of. And at the end, they said, some people say this when they meditate: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And I really liked it because you could take it with you anywhere. And I started chanting, and then they invited me to the temple. We also visited the Ramakrishna Vedanta Society and the Krishnamurti Theosophical Society. And we did a lot of things, but the Hare Krishna temple was the most alive. It was buzzing. The devotees were chanting japa the first time I went. And it was just so attractive. I decided I wanted to continue going. And after reading some of Prabhupada's books, I got the realization that everything that he says is exactly the way it is. It's the truth. And I kept going, even when my parents told me to stop going, because I was in high school. But I continued, and fortunately, I'm still here today. So it's Prabhupada's mercy, his books. That's the short version.
I'd like to say one quick thing. I was walking with Radhanath Swami for probably an hour, and he asked me how I came to Krishna consciousness, and I was talking to him for like that whole hour. Then we got back, and we sat outside by the garage, and I'm still telling him how I got to Krishna consciousness. And then after all that time, he listened, and I was thinking, why am I just talking about myself? So I asked him, how did you come to Krishna consciousness? How did you come to Krishna consciousness? And Radhanath Swami said, Srila Prabhupada's mercy.
Then afterwards, he wrote a whole book.
Yeah, then later he wrote a whole book on it, but at the time, that's what his answer was. But
That's really what it is.
it
was
is.
for everybody.
It's Prabhupada's mercy, really. Because there's no way anybody can come to Krishna consciousness, at least us Westerners, without Prabhupada's mercy. There's no way it could happen. So anyway, Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila
I was
Prabhupada.
just thinking, Prabhuji, as you were reading the 26 qualities, and I was thinking about one of the qualities which is not mentioned, but obviously some devotees have. 27th, I would say, is humor. And I just find yourself having such a good sense of humor. Those who have met Prabhuji, he's always makes our conversations very light. And although so senior to us, he never makes us, at least when I spoke to him, I don't feel tensed, and I can open up and speak casually. As I was telling, I sent him the flyer. I sent Prabhuji the flyer today that Ram Tulsi Prabhu designed for the Wednesday Sangha. He designs this. And in that, Krishna is sitting like this. And Prabhuji was saying, oh, look, Krishna is looking and thinking, looking at me and saying, he's going to speak tonight. I wonder what he's going to speak. And I was just laughing. Obviously, that was his humility. But he's also a very good magician, Prabhuji, also. So I encourage devotees when the lockdown is over to go and visit ISKCON Hartford, a very nice temple, attend the program there, and meet Mataji and Prabhuji also and get their association. It's not too far, only about an hour and a half from here, I believe. So,
I think it's a
thank you
little,
very much.
probably about 2 hours, but
About 2 hours, yeah. Thank
I
you.
guess it depends how fast you drive. Anyway, thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Glory.
Hare
Glory.
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. See you on
Hare
Friday. Yep.
Hari Bol.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय।
Ah.